Hello everyone, this is my first teaching memo slash video as session 1 has ended and session 2 has begun. I had a very busy weekend. I attended my granddaughter's 4th birthday party yesterday. It had a fairy theme, so I thought I'd share a couple of pictures with you if I can find them. There she is. She was the head fairy. I did not decorate myself as a fairy, dress up as a fairy, so that's a privilege of being the grandfather. But I did get a picture of me and all my grandkids. Those are the 5 that you saw in my introduction. There they are. That's currently how they look. It's little Luke, who's about a month and a half old now. And there's the birthday girl, the fairy there. Elena, Logan, that's Casimir, and Elena and Reagan. Okay, enough of that nonsense. Also, there was the marathon on the walkway. I would recommend that anybody who has never done it before come up and take a walk on the walkway over the Hudson. It's the longest footbridge in the country that I know of. And in celebration, I am wearing you can see there is my walkway t-shirt. So that's enough introductory gobbledygook. I think that's it. The little housekeeping, by this time you should have completed 4 assignments. The academic integrity statement, which can be found in a couple of places, but the main place is in the link, the college policies link over here. If you click on college policies, you'll see the academic integrity statement right there. You click on it and hit continue, and it's just answering a true or false question. I have read this statement. So that is pretty self-explanatory. Make sure you do that. I will be writing to people that haven't done it, so make sure you get that done. Also, there's a TERS self-test, which is ungraded. Fortunately, people must be watching my introductory memo video because no one has written me and complained about the grade they got on the self-TERS test. The TERS self-test. It's a tough one, which is ungraded. It's just a form of pretest that we go back and we do it again at the end to see how you've grown in accordance to what Papa believes you should have learned from this course. You should have done the grade the DEJ's discussion board. That requires only 1 posting in which you grade the 4 exemplar DEJs. And finally, the double entry journal for the article Beyond the Yellow Highlighter. Make sure you read you watch my first DEJ. If you haven't done that yet, I have a first DEJ. If you go and look under assignments, you'll see the first DEJ. Also, you can access the discussion boards, and I'm sure most of you know this, but just for someone who might not, if you go into all discussions, you'll see a little bit more information. There are the discussion boards. Now everybody is posting in their groups, which is great. You can see your groups right there, which one you're in. There are exactly 20 people, and you can see only 10 people have participated so far. So only half of you have participated. So let's get going. You can make your initial post in your group. You must make it in your group, but you can respond in any group. So keep that in mind. I know in some groups, like in I think it's group 1, only 1 person has posted. You can see there's only 3 posts in that group, and 2 of them are mine. So that's why you can make your response in any group. So you can bounce around, and I would recommend, I'm going to have a teaching memo post this time, so look for it. It will be above all of these groups here. It'll say Dr. Tom teaching memo post. So I would highly recommend everybody respond to that, but you don't have to. It's not mandatory. But to get the most out of this unit and this session, these 2 sessions, I would recommend it. I also recommend going in and looking for my posts and responding to them. I may respond to an individual, but anybody can jump in and answer the questions I've asked. So make sure you do that. Also, as a housekeeping matter, some of you have said you can't open some of the material. The materials are always in 2 different places. If you go over here on the left side, you'll see that all materials link. And here are readings, here are presentations, here are videos, and here are websites. So if you can't open them in the assignment link or in the course materials link under coursework by week, you can always find it somewhere else. And if you can't, also send me an email so I can go back in and fix it. So that's something I wanted to point out to everyone, that everything is located in 2 different places. Also, if you haven't introduced yourself, make sure you do that. Notice that in the discussion, under all discussions, you'll see if you've noticed, the Wordle has been changing as people have added their introductory posts. 19 of you have done that. There's only 1 person that hasn't introduced themselves. Of course, it's not mandatory, but I would like you to add an avatar, and I explained how to do that in my welcome memo. If you add an avatar, you can see that those people here who have added their avatars, when you click on, you can see their face, which is kind of neat. It makes it much more personal to be involved in a discussion with someone you know what they look like. Again, that's not mandatory as well, but I would recommend it. So that's it for what was due the first week. There is no penalty for late work, so if you haven't handed in your DEJ yet, that you won't be penalized for it. The problem with the discussion boards is, though, that they close, and you can't make posts after they close. You won't be able to see them. So make sure you get all your posts in. Just a reminder, there is a Help is on the Way discussion board. No one has used that yet. If you go into all discussions, you'll see, you scroll down, you'll see Help is on the Way. If you have a question, you can post it there, and one of your classmates may be able to answer it. I will also be checking on that, but unfortunately, I'm not great at it. But I will check on it. I will try to do it every day and answer any questions you have. That way, everyone can see your question and my answer, and someone else may be able to answer it. So please take advantage of that. I also want to remind you that to receive maximum credit for your initial posting, it must be submitted within the first 2 days of the discussion board is open. And again, that's for an A+. I think it's 4 days to get an A, and it goes down after that. And the reason for that is that the earlier you react, the more of us can see it and react to it. If you're making your 3 posts on the last 3 days of the second session, typically many of us are done by then. And personally, I usually don't work on the weekend. So if you're posting on Saturday and Sunday, especially late Sunday night, I probably won't see it, or will many of your classmates. Also remember that in the first initial post, you have to use APA format with a list of references. If you're not sure how to do it, click on this Purdue Owls website link, and you'll see how to do in-text citations and how to do reference lists, etc., etc. I'll be providing feedback on your first double entry journal. Make sure after uploading you check back to get that. Just a reminder that there's no penalty, again, for late submissions. My suggestion is that you should follow the suggested due dates in order to receive timely feedback from me. If you do a DEJ now and there's another one due in 2 weeks, you may not get the feedback in a timely fashion. So the longer you delay after the due date, the less helpful my comments will be. Let me talk about beyond the yellow highlighter. I have a quote here: annotating is a writing to learn strategy. It's also thinking while you're reading, which is a way to retain information in a much easier way. I continue to use the Porter O'Donnell article even though it's 12 years old, because it allows me to do two things. One, to expose many of you to a powerful reading comprehension strategy that can not only benefit you as a student, but you can share with your students in the classroom. So I model a form of assessment for learning that will provide you with the tools necessary to implement formative assessment in your own classroom. To me, it's a win-win. So I give you exemplars, you grade those exemplars, you talk about quality. So before you even start your double entry journal, you know what's expected, you've graded it, you've talked about what a quality DEJ looks like. So that's a powerful assessment strategy, assessment for learning. You'll be receiving feedback from me, and I will show you what this looks like. I will go into the Grade Center, and I'll do this without showing any names. I will go in. I've done some DEJs, and you'll see what it looks like. Oh, that's not the right assignment. Okay, we'll get a. You'll notice that I seldom give 100 on the first assignment, although I've given many A's because there's always a little room for improvement. But you'll see that this is where I make most of my comments. If you go and scroll over, you'll see there are comments. There's highlighting, and I've made many comments on your double entry journal. If you click on this grade box, you'll see that I have comments here as well. So there are many ways that you'll get feedback from me, right on the document and in the text box under the grades. So make sure you do that. So you'll be getting feedback from me. I want to talk about the Assessment Literary Discussion Board. I want to use Group 5 as an exemplar and what my expectations are for initial posts. Remember, the rubric has 5 levels of quality, and the highest level is advanced. I received an email from someone saying, well, what if I can't implement something in my classroom? And that is on opinions and connections, which is very rare that somebody gets a 5 in this category. So you can still get an A+ by getting 5s in the other 3 categories. There are 4 categories. If you get an A+ in 3 of them and an A in 1 of them, you're still going to get an A+ as a grade. So that person said, well, what if I'm not teaching and I can't implement these strategies? That's okay. You can still get an A+. But I wanted to talk about your initial post and your responsiveness, that your initial posting has to use APA format, and I wanted to use Group 5, which I thought did a nice job for the first discussion board. You'll notice this is Yale's post, and you'll notice she has used proper APA format. You know, she's reference Popham 2004. She's referenced a page number for her quote. You only have to reference the author once per paragraph, unless you have another citation in between. She made she wrote page 5 here. This probably isn't correct. You should just write Popham names 2 categories of assessment, and then you put page 5 like she did up here. And you only need the P, small p, not the PG. So Yale did a good job here with APA formatting with her reference list here. And you'll notice on the response post, this is Catherine who cited the text in a response post. You don't have to do this part of it. Just do the citation. You only have to do the reference list in your initial post. If you want to do this, it's okay, but it's not necessary. But you'll notice that there's citations. Here, Melissa added a video, which will help her get a 5 in that category of responsiveness. I think Yale did also added a test prep reference somewhere along here, because I want your responses to focus on our discussion. Before, when I first started discussion boards, people were just ranting about their classes, about other professors, about their principal, and it was like had nothing to do with extending and enhancing the discussion. So that's why you have to reference the and if you're only doing 5 responses, and that's all you need to get an A, 1 initial post, 5 responses, that's 6 posts on 3 separate days, then you need to reference the text in 4 out of those 5 response posts. So keep that in mind. So that's what I wanted to mention in housekeeping on the discussion board. Discussion board closes next Monday morning, and after it closes, you can't make any more posts. And I do that because it's no sense having a discussion when nobody's there. It's like the elevator goes all the way to the top, or doesn't go all the way to the top, or the lights are on but nobody's home. I think that's the one I wanted to say. So let's talk about assignments for session 2. We'll continue with the assessment literacy discussion board. If you haven't made your initial post, get cracking. And like I said, I hope you don't make all of them on the last 3 days. You're going to have your first quiz this week. And I tried to model the types of questions you'll be creating for your selected response test later in the course. I avoided true-false questions in order to allow you to take the quiz a second time and correct your errors. This is a way of using summative assessment in a formative way. I created the quiz discussion board in order to give you a chance to discuss the ones you get wrong. Remember, no giving answers, just help your group mates or your classmates in finding the information needed. You may find that Blackboard does not grade the matching section correctly. Don't panic. I will be checking and fixing it. Don't take the quiz a second time until that happens, until I go in and fix it, so you know which ones you got wrong. Many of you will be tempted to retake the quiz immediately. Someone has done that already. Of course, that is your choice, but it defeats the purpose of my goal of using the assessments formatively. You also have a video quiz, and that is located, you'll have to go into the if you go into the coursework by week, you'll see session 2. It's in week 2 presentations, and you'll see special ed assessment part 1, special ed assessment part 2, special ed assessment part 3. Part 2 asks you to put in your email, and I'm just experimenting with that, so please bear with me and put your email address in. But you have to take each of these separately. You have to watch the video all the way through. They're not hard. The questions are very simple. They're asking you about information. You can even go back and re-watch it before you take the quiz, but you have to finish the quiz. Many people will log on and just let your computer shut down or go to sleep, and then you can't get back in. And I can't clear it. So these are special quizzes. Make sure you watch them all the way through and answer all the questions before you move on to the next one. All right, that's my heads up for the for those video quizzes. And some of you will have trouble. What I'm saying, when you do it, write down the answers in case that something does happen. Your computer shuts down, or you get a phone call and your computer goes to sleep, or you have to go make supper. I've also added video links where you can go in and watch the video, take the quiz, write it down, and then send it to me via email if you don't get through it correctly, if something happens. So that's it for this week. I'll be back with another teaching memo next Monday. See you then.